Now here we go, from one legendary British boss to another. It's time to welcome this man, who some say I do a mean impression of, you know.
We're in London. Hey, we're in London, aren't we?
We're in London. We're in London, aren't we? It is without doubt a very, very good morning to Neil Warnock. Neil, good morning. How are you?
Morning, Neil.
Morning, Andy. Stick to Scottish accent.
I think I should, Neil. I don't think there's any doubt about it. But you need to. The burning question. Andy and I absolutely love that piece.
Oh, it's great. I love it. I do.
Neil, are you getting any? Tell me, are you getting any decisions at all on the road nowadays?
It's difficult down south, isn't it? But it's when you watch the Premier League, and the top clubs still get the decisions, don't they? Really, even with VAR and everything. But it's not going to change that. But hey, don't let's spoil the 5 minutes for talking about them.
You're absolutely right.
Hey, let me just say it, Moisey. I know he will say that they should be in the, he's disappointed they're not in the squad, but underneath he'll be absolutely.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, Neil.
You're not going to get injured. Trust me.
Very true.
Be so pleased.
What's it like, Neil? Neil, these international breaks for coaches. When you see players going away, and then you, like as you say, you've got your fingers crossed they're going to come back in one piece. You're trying to make plans for a game once everyone gets back, but you don't know whether they're going to walk through the door or limp or whatever. It must be difficult.
It is. I mean, obviously for the clubs at the moment, we've only got a couple of young lads. But I look at the big clubs, and you've just got to rely on people looking after your players. I did speak to one international manager about one of my players, because he's not done much training. We've been looking after him, and you just want to make sure that he's looked after in the same sort of way. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Rather than rushing him back in, because you all want to impress when you get called up, don't you?
Neil, how about your start to the season? How have you seen it? Good result, obviously, at West Brom prior to the international break. And I think, is it Rotherham you've got at the weekend? That correct?
Yeah, we've done all right. We've played well. We could have won every game, and that includes, in my eyes, even when we lost 4-0 to Norwich, I thought we could have won that with a couple of decisions going our way. But I look at everything. And they're a good group of lads, and that's the best thing I can say. They're going to try hard in every time, and we've got one or two decent players, Andy. I'm looking forward to it now. We've got one or two injuries back after this international break as well. So now let's just give it a go now. It's a wide open league. There's the top teams have got every. They've got sort of two teams they can put out, most of them in the Championship. But it's still a great challenge for me. The fans are brilliant, and I've really, Ronnie Jepson and myself, we've really enjoyed working for the fans, and that's all you can do your best. But hey, let's change subject, Andy. Now, Ally, what about tonight, son?
Yes.
Now, let me tell you this, Andy. When I was 18, 19, we didn't know what tickets we could get, and I was playing for Chesterfield, I think and I got 2 tickets, and Wembley, and I was going out with a girl, and we went out down there. We got in, and we were in the Scottish contingent at the back of it. I didn't know that. Anyhow, so we goes in there, and I said to her, "Keep your mouth shut. Whatever you do, don't let him know what we are."
You know how to charm them, Neil, don't you? Eh?
We stand on the cot, and we stand next to this guy. Got a massive overcoat on, and he knew what English, whatever they called me. But anyhow, we're just about 10 minutes before the game, and he was all having a laugh and a joke, and he said, "Hey, do you want to read Ram?" I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Do you want to read Ram?" I said, "Wow, have you got one?" He opened his overcoat, and he had a bar. He had a bar. He had everything in his overcoat. I've never seen out like it.
I love that.
Neil, I had a similar one. My first game I went to as a kid, my first Wembley, I think it was 79. 77 was the one where I think we took half the stadium back up the road was. But 79 we played, and we got beat 3-1. But I remember, I think we equalised. I think Bruce Reeve scored a penalty. And the same thing, there was this big, massive, hairy Scotsman next to me. And he opened one of these, goal went in, and he opened one of these, I was only 16, 17 at the time, Neil, and he opened this hip flask, and I swear to God, there was smoke and bubbles coming out this thing, and he rammed it in my face and says, "Get some of that down you son," you know what I mean? Instantly growing hairs in my chest and things like that, you know what I mean? It was an amazing experience.
You know, when I was at Scarborough, 86, 87, something like that, we had a fabulous coach, Claxton's coach. Everybody looked at us going around the country, you know, the top clubs to look at the coach we had. And, well, we got the Scottish game, so we said, look, come on, let's go. We had 3 Scots in the team. Tommy Graham, Les McJanet, they were mad Scots. And so we said, look, we'll go, separate the bus into 2. And go down, we'll go down. And they had the kilts on and everything, these 2 lads, and at the back of the bus. And it was just such a great, when we turned up to go down that, you know, the Wembley way.
Yeah.
I mean, the Scots just took it over. But there were no trouble, Andy.
No.
There were no trouble in them days. It was just
great.
It was just the greatest game I've ever witnessed is the England-Scotland game. And when they took it off the calendar, I thought, what a absolute tragedy this is, because you don't get anything better. I know it's only a game, but wow, it is a game and a half.
It is.
I love it.
Neil, I was just going to ask you a bit about Gareth, and because there's, you know, we still, even now after a long time he's been the coach now, and he's been very, very close to winning a major competition, and this England team are there or thereabouts all the time, and yet there's still this kind of tag that's labelled at Gareth that he's too defensive, he's too negative, etc. Where are you on all of that?
I think he's done it. I remember seeing him in one of the dinners at the end of the season a couple of years ago, and I pulled him and I said, I've got to tell you, Gareth, I didn't think you were a good choice. And he laughed his head off. And I said, but what you've done with these group is brilliant, so just keep it going. And I do think he's done a brilliant job.
Yeah.
I think that he's got a good squad. They all want to play for him, like you said earlier. They all want to come training together. I think he'll qualify for tournaments every time. I just don't think he'll win one.
Right.
And I'm not being harsh there. I just don't think there's that. I don't know how to explain it, whether it's in his staff or whatever. But I don't think there's something there to win something. I think there's something there that'll qualify, and he'll take the club, the country forward. Because let's be honest, you can't win as an England manager. Whatever you do, everybody's a different opinion. It's a poison chalice almost. But he has done a remarkable job in steadying it. But I heard Simon Jordan the other day have a similar thing, and I can't put my, it's that little bit that you need. That I think that when you get to a semi-final, you've just got to have something, I think, and I just don't see that in his camp, really. Right. I don't see that on the staffing side. But, what do you want? You're going to qualify every time in these competitions.
Yeah. Well, Neil, I've got to say to you, my friend, as an adopted son of Dunoon, you're in a no-lose situation tonight. How's that grab you?
I'm not. I know, it's brilliant. I've got to say, Ali, when I go up there, I absolutely love Scotland. My team is obviously Greenock Morton.
Yes.
Because I'm living at Dunoon there.
That's
right. I've always wanted to manage up there. It's one of my disappointments, really. But hey, listen, be a great game tonight, and I'll speak to you in the morning, Ali, when you've lost.
Brilliant, Neil. I look forward to that. I'll get in touch
Neil.
with you. Thanks for coming on. Always great to hear you, Neil.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.